this week was huge in the world of social commerce. So some big announcements. We won't go into all of them. We're going to talk about them generally. The big one, TikTok is now partnering with Shopify on social commerce. We also saw this week Dunkin', aka Dunkin' Donuts, is now paying its employees to post on TikTok. WhatsApp is now opening up in-app shopping features. And this one was cool too. LG TV has launched Shop Time on its television sets featuring QVC and HSN. Why don't we give our guests the honors first? Ollie, what's your take on all these stories collectively?
Well, boom time, I tell you, for social commerce. It's a really exciting time for this thing that's been sort of building hype, but it's, you know, we've seen a few things with Instagram and so on, but now it feels like people are starting to get it, and all these sort of, we could do this, we could do that, are starting to come to fruition. So for me, really big stories, but actually it's not so much the exact stories that are really big here, but it's actually about really embedding social commerce into people's lives, and they will be building familiarity every time they come across, you know, is it the LG example or TikTok, whatever it is, they are going to be becoming more and more conscious of, hey, I can do shopping in this way because it's much easier, or it just flows through and it's a one click thing. I don't even realize I'm doing it perhaps. So yeah. I think it's really exciting from that perspective.
That's the key. They might not even know, right? That's what's crazy. Anne, what do you think?
I think this is huge, and actually less on the TikTok side than it is on the Shopify side. I mean, I don't know if you guys have paid attention to Shopify stock, but since March, it's almost doubled when you look at all of the announcements that they've made. They're the fulfillment or payments provider for all the Facebook shops. For Facebook obviously owns WhatsApp. You also have Shopify just kind of creating this ecosystem around enabling social commerce to happen. They are the backbone for everybody from your biggest retail players to the small mom and pops to influencers who are now becoming retailers, getting on a platform and being able to sell anything, anytime, anywhere. And especially as we really get into this like social commerce being discovery happening online. And that will just continue to grow, I think, especially in the next couple of months when, you know, in the US, I think we're projected to spend 20% more time this year on our social platforms than we ever have. So I think it's something to pay close attention to, especially as we get into the payment space and really look at the other tools and plugins that Shopify is enabling, and then how consumers shop. And, you know, I think in the past we talked about Shop Pay and, you know, is this something that can take over? But as we start to think about how you're going to be checking out at all these places, having a simplified checkout like Shop Pay is now even more lucrative, I think, than ever.
Great point. Yeah, it is amazing just how many tentacles Shopify now has out there in the world. Like, it's pretty damn impressive. Emma, what do you think? You're kind of, you know, you've kind of played around in these types of spaces, even just entrepreneurially. Where's your head at with all these things this week?
I, of course, love all of these. You know, shopping through social apps is so fun and like it's entertaining and it's different from the traditional ways of shopping. And I also like Shopify is a brilliant company. I admire what they do. Like, hello, Instagram and Facebook shop. This is another kind of direct competition with that. But I think this is definitely like the future.
Which they're also connected to. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Definitely the future of shopping because it's just so different, new, and fun.
I think the other two things that I want to get you guys' takes on too is like, I think it's really cool that Dunkin' Donuts is saying, hey, be our ambassadors, right? You guys are TikTok. I mean, you guys are out there, do it, put things out on TikTok, help share our brand story. Like, what's the harm in that? You know, I think that's cool. I think that's something that, you know, more companies could leverage and take quote unquote some risk with. But the other thing that's really cool to me, and I know this was cool to you too, is like the LG story is fascinating to me. We've talked all the time on this program about what are those moments that different retailers own your life. And I don't know about you, and Ollie, I'm curious too in the UK what this is like for you, but like for me, that sitting down in front of the television is still a thing. But what's becoming less and less of a thing is the channel surfing and more what apps do I want to engage with on that television screen and where do I spend my time in that moment? And so it's cool to see like QVC and HSN who've always owned that through the surf now going into that space too. And that's still a space that just seems like it's wide open. But I don't know, Ollie, maybe we'll go to you first on that one. What's your perspective on that last point from the UK standpoint?
Yeah, well, I think it's, you know, the TV is still the screen that perhaps demands the most sort of deep concentration within our lives, sitting, paying attention to it for, an hour plus a day. I don't know what the average numbers are, to be honest, but I think absolutely it's about turning up where customers are already. And, retail's always done that, right? Through ads, etc. on TV. And now it's just a slightly more interactive way of turning up where customers are when they're sitting down, relaxing.
Right. And you gave up cable a long time ago. Like, how do you think about that whole thing?
Well, I think what I love about this is actually just how it already weaves itself into the patterns and behaviors that we already have. You're used to going to Amazon, Prime Video and clicking on a movie you want to watch and downloading it. So that behavior seems normal. So I think that was really smart for QVC and HSN to kind of move into this platform. I still think that there's like this step removed where I don't know how many people are going to be like, yes, let me go shop online right away. I don't know what that will reflect in viewership or participation. But I think it makes sense just in terms of normal patterns and behaviors. And it certainly makes more sense to me than yelling at Amazon Alexa to buy that thing off the TV. Like that to me is an SNL skit waiting to happen.
Shout out to Carter who wanted us to talk about that on this week's episode. I mean, you're right. But how do you actually close the transaction on television? I think is still a really open question. And Gary Newberry, shout out to him too. He wanted us to talk about TikTok and what this means for Amazon. I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting in that Shopify is carving out its niche against Amazon. And you have to remember, like Shopify is the shop, basically. It is what it is. Like Amazon has been the fulfillment for small, businesses. This is different. And so I don't think it's necessarily a death knell, as some people have been saying on LinkedIn for Amazon, or look out Amazon, but like, this is unique. And you're shaking your head.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I mean, I think that it's a bigger deal than a lot of people are giving it credit for. No, is it the final death, blow for Amazon? Probably not, but it's going to pretty much give people the ecosystem of options of fulfillment to sell themselves versus going and selling products on Amazon, which people are having a really hard time with right now, especially when it comes to owning your customer data and information, and to be able to keep on to that information by using various plugins within Shopify and being able to put your product out on, do live streaming, all these other features and functionality, all the way to how you're handling fulfillment and follow up with customers. I think it's a bigger deal.
It's interesting. Like long term, Amazon doesn't have that social network, and you see it still just going more towards logistics and backbone and convenience and that kind of thing. We'll see, or going more into physical retail than it has. All right, well, let's keep on rolling.
Can I ask you guys a quick question on the social commerce?
Yeah, go for it, Ali.
What do you reckon about, we got TikTok, Shopify this week. We've had Shopify Walmart recently. We've had Walmart TikTok sort of, will they, won't they, who knows? What do you reckon about this triple threat, 3 in a bed situation that we've got going on with these? Do you see this going a long way?
I think that part is fascinating, and thanks for bringing that up too, because we should have done that in the show. Is you have to remember too that Shopify has that partnership with Walmart that they announced a few months ago, and so now that plays into this. So now if you're on Shopify, you can get distribution to in Walmart, returns in Walmart, which they've said can happen. You can now, Walmart's got a part of TikTok too, so they're going to want to facilitate that and get a piece of that pie in the same way. Yeah, I think you're absolutely 100% correct. That's another important element of this conversation.
Yeah, for me, it goes back to the ecosystem that they're creating, Oliver, where it's just you've got all the Walmart store locations. You have the combination of Walmart and entertainment that they can help put out via their platforms with TikTok. And then I think you have Shopify, again, enabling shoppability for every single point within that whole line.
Yeah, it reminds me of some advice somebody gave me 4 years ago, starting out as an entrepreneur. Would you rather be the house or be the tool that everyone uses to build the house? And my God, Shopify feels like the tool that everyone needs now to do so many different things. I think that's the takeaway here.